wonderful Rashmi and Janagadi. They are here finally. Good to meet them. They are single-handedly responsible for making this evening happen. I want to thank
Namaste.
Today we have very special guest on our show who need no introduction. He worked in more than 50 movies, Hollywood, Bollywood, you name it. I mean, he worked with superstars like Shah Rukh Khan, Katrina Kaif, Mallika Sherawat, Tanisha Mukherjee. It's a long list. So let's welcome none other than Will Keenan. Welcome to our show.
Namaste.
Namaste. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. And looking over your video, I remember things from my career now that I had long forgotten.
That's very nice. So, would you like to tell our viewers something about yourself?
No, not really. I'm just kidding. My name is Will Keenan, and what I would like to tell you about myself is that I've enjoyed a very blessed career and continue to do so. And I'm happy to be on your show.
Nice. And thank you so much for coming to our show. So, like we have heard a lot about you, watched all your movies. How was your experience working in Bollywood?
It was one of the most gratifying experiences in my whole entertainment industry career. So I think it was like 2006, 2007, when I was making lots of what they call independent films here in America, but the economy went down, and then I went to Bollywood, where the film industry, the largest independent film industry in the world, in fact, there's like, at least 4 different film industries in all of India. I went there, and I was, honored and lucky enough to work with some great people like Shah Rukh Khan, Mallika Sherawat. I worked on a movie, the remake of Agnipath with Hrithik Roshan and Priyanka Chopra. I was able to make music with Shruti Hassan. Shruti Hassan, I produced a song that she sang. And a very famous rock star in America, Dave Kushner, from a big, what do they call it, a super band? No, yeah. Super band in America. Shweta Pandit, and even Mallika Sherawat sang for the first time in a song I produced with music by Julian Lennon of the Lennon musical family.
Awesome. And we heard that Mallika Sherawat is your Rakhi sister. Is this true?
Yeah, here's the thing. So I did not know, and I'm a very big fan of Indian culture. Mm-hmm. And even before I started working in Bollywood, I was, how would you say, studying lots of Indian gurus, especially Paramahansa Yogananda. I am his chela.
Oh, interesting.
So I was a big fan of Indian culture, but not so much Bollywood. But then I started working there. But when you start working with someone like Malika Sharvat, and she Rockies you, makes you her Rakshabandhan brother. At first it was like, oh, this is really cool, an ancient Indian ritual. But then I realized part of the deal was that I had to protect her honor,
Uh-huh.
which is, Malika Sharvat, it's very challenging to do. So you'll see pictures of me and her with crowds around, and I'm trying to be both producer, friend, and collaborator, but also spot boy.
Right. We read some news recently, like you're known as Malika Sherawat godfather. So yeah, you are protecting her well. You're doing a lot of great things.
Yes, at one time, I think it was the Bombay Times called me her godfather. So I started working with her and got involved in a few movies in Bollywood, but also got her involved in some work here in Hollywood.
That's nice. And you have been to Cannes Film Festival like more than 15 times, and your movies were played there. Tell us something about your Cannes Film Festival experience.
By the way, I'm dabbing myself because we're on the South Jersey Cape right now, very southern tip of New Jersey. It's very hot, and we're in a big old space, historic building. So it's very hot. It's almost like India. In fact, you can probably see I might be sweating already.
Yeah.
So I lived in India on and off for like 4 years. My first trip there was, I think, 2 weeks. My second trip was 2 months. And then over a period of 4 years, I think I lived in India for a total of 2 years. And my very last trip there, long trip, was 2012 or 2013. It was a 11 months long trip. But I would be that, the Ferengi walking around. It was just soaked with sweat. What was your question? Yeah, so I've been to the Cannes Film Festival a number of times for American independent films, for some other work, but also I went at least twice connected to Indian projects. One is the famous, what do you say? How do we say in India when a movie is a really big bomb at the box office?
Super hit.
No, opposite of super hit. It was called Hiss.
Oh.
The Noggin movie with Malika. And at Cannes, we brought, I think it was a 36-foot python snake, which...
Was it the real snake?
Say?
Was that the real snake in the
Yes.
movie?
Yeah. And in fact...
Are you kidding me?
I swear to God, it was like it took 6, and I was one of them, 6 people to carry the snake onto the deck of one of the French hotels on the Croisette of Cannes, whatever it is. But it's one of the most famous pictures ever taken in Cannes, where this huge snake, the head of the snake is like as big as Malika's head, right?
Oh my
And
goodness.
the tongue is going out, and the tongue touches her lips. So, yeah.
I doubt. I bet.
Yeah. Working with Malika was a very exciting experience. I learned a lot about Bollywood. I think she learned a lot about Hollywood. And I also, like I said, got to work with Shah Rukh Khan. Another big opposite of super hit is Raw One. The movie, Shah Rukh Khan's big superhero movie, Raw One. At the time, the biggest budgeted Bollywood movie ever. So I helped out on that, especially in the beginning. I helped hire the visual effects people and the script writers. And then, in Bollywood, masala, everyone kind of changes the script. So I still like Rawan. I still like Hiss, but you guys are better judges of Bollywood movies than I am.
It was really one of the most expensive movies, and it has amazing visual effects. I loved Ravan, and I believe everyone loved Shah Rukh Khan.
Well, here's the thing. So I love Shah Rukh Khan, and once I started working in Bollywood and working with Indians, and we're not just talking Bollywood, we're talking Tollywood and Collywood, but SRK is SRK, right?
Right.
And I became a fan of his work before I met him, and then I met him in Los Angeles when he was shooting the movie My Name Is Khan.
Wow.
And he was, and I spent like a few weeks with them on the set. And Karan Johar was the director, and they were staying at Universal Studios City Hollywood Hotel. And I was so impressed because I would show up on set and watch them work really, really hard all day long for like 8 or 10 or 12 hours, where the unions in America, in LA, they cut you off at, I think, 10 hours or something. And Shah Rukh Khan was the hardest working person I've ever seen on a film set.
There's no other way to success. There's no shortcut to success. You got to be hardworking. You got to be consistent to be successful. So yes,
absolutely. He was running around and working with the junior artists. He was working with Karan behind the camera. And then after a long day's filming in Los Angeles for My Name Is Khan, we would then go back to the hotel and take meetings for the next 4 or 6 hours for Rawan, for the development of Rawan. So not only is he the hardest working man I've ever seen, but he's also the most gracious. And I've worked with a lot of celebrities in America and Bollywood and around the world. He is the nicest, most gracious and kind superstar I have ever worked with.
Awesome. So are you, Will. I mean, you are so down to earth and humble. We have seen you with superstars. I've seen your pictures with Kamal Hassan, Shruti Hassan. They're big superstars of South, and you're so down to earth and humble.
Well, thank you. And I have, and they're all amazing people, super talents, especially in India, and A-list celebrities there. But I have lots of pictures, there's lots of pictures of me and celebrities around the world that you can't find. Just keep it like that.
So was it India that encouraged you, was it your India visits, your love for Indian culture that encouraged you to choose spiritual path? Because I have seen lately you have your non-profit organization known as Saint Babes. Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. I fell in love with India, especially Paramahansa Yogananda, my guru. And if I were to change my camera, I could show you pictures of him around. But then, like I said, I started working in India. And my trips kept getting longer and longer. And all my friends here who knew that I followed Paramahansa Yogananda, they thought I was going off to India for spiritual path reasons. But I was not. I was working,
Yeah.
So the first time I finally got to go to India was for spiritual reasons, was just last year for a Kumbh Mela.
Oh, wow. I have seen Maura's picture. Yes, I have been, following you on Instagram and all social media. So I have seen your pictures from your Kumbh Mela.
That was my first time in India just for, a religious festival.
Tell us your experience about Kumbh Mela and your, masala chai and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes. It is the Kumbh, as you know, every 12 years, every 6 years, every 3 years, but it's the largest human gathering on the planet. Like
Yes.
in America, they have this thing called Burning Man, which is like, it's nothing compared to this. So Mara and I were there at the Kumbh, this past Kumbh, for I think 7 or 9 days. And I think within that period of time, there was like 30 or 40 million people within that 5 square mile radius. It was amazing. I got to bathe in the Ganges for the first time. I got to be a part of, you know, a lot of ancient rituals I've always wanted to. And so if I were to pick between, you know, India entertainment industry, Bollywood, and India spirituality, I have to go for the latter. I have to go for the spirituality, but they're both great.
Right. That's amazing. That's great to hear. So would you like to go again for the Kumbh Mela?
Yes, I want to go to the next one, the big one, the 12th one, the Mahakumbh. You know, I've been wanting to go to a Kumbh for over 20 years. So this seemed like the perfect time last year. And I had a partner in crime.
Yes. So would you like to call Mora? Hi, Mora. So let's introduce her to our viewers.
What is she wearing?
She is wearing one of my designs, and I'm working on your wedding project too. Hey everyone, welcome Mora to the show.
Thank you.
You want to sit?
That's okay.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, you want to sit on my left? Oh, that's probably not. You want to stand next to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
So yes, so you're providing all the design for the wedding gratis.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to, you know, work on your wedding project. I feel, you know, fortunate to have such amazing clients and people. You guys are amazing. You're not just my clients. I love you guys. I love listening to all your Bollywood and Hollywood stories. And we are working on so many more projects, and we will come up in maybe next session and talk to our viewers about it.
Yeah, in fact, our wedding was scheduled for this, so it's July 2nd. It was supposed to be September 20th.
Yes.
But because of the coronavirus, we postponed. So we all have much more time to plan.
Yes, yes. So everything happens for a reason, and this coronavirus has impacted so many weddings and so many things, and we hope things get better soon. Yes.
Yes,
We have more time in hand. We can plan better. We can create amazing outfit, nice jewelry, and you guys would look amazing.
Wait, are you just making outfit for her and the?
No, how can I not make outfits for you?
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, you got a lot to work with here, right?
Yes. I'm fortunate to, you know, be able to style both of you. So I'm working for both of you. There's no way that I'm gonna.
Wonderful.
So, Mora, would you like to talk about your yoga lesson and your meditation and what inspired you to start your yoga live sessions? Because I'm very inspired with your yoga session and I always follow you, join your live session. Would you like to talk about it?
Of course. My live sessions were actually inspired by going to the Kumbh and spending time at Yogananda's ashram, where I learned how to do different meditation techniques, different prana breaths, different things like that. And I was just inspired by it. And then I started doing research about all different types of meditation and what certain ones will do for you, what others will do for you. And I kind of try to balance it out. So each lesson I do is something different for different people. So some people want more of an emotional base, so they want more encouragement. And then other people are better off with a nice silent meditation where they just focus on their breathing. So that's what I try to do. I try to bring a little bit of everything for everyone.
Right. And I would, like you to mention your social media so our viewers can follow your social media, Will Keenan social media, and of course my social media, so they can see a sneak peek of your wedding collection, your wedding designs, and our upcoming projects.
Absolutely. My social media for all of my socials is Mara, MAURA AGK.
Awesome.
So that's Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook.
Facebook, it's all around one thing.
And I'm pretty much just at Will Keenan, WILLKEENAN, on all the same platforms, and some I forgot about.
Yeah, so we should tell all our viewers to like and follow your social media without any wait.
Yes. And we will tell our followers the same for you. And what are your social media handles again?
So my social media is Designer Dream Collection. They can find me on Instagram and Facebook with Designer Dream Collection, and my website is designer-dc.com, so they can go and check my new collection there. Thank you. So, Will, would you like to talk about your upcoming projects? Because due to this pandemic, things have changed. People are working remotely. So, how are you managing your work? Being in this industry, staying at home, it's challenging.
Yeah. So a few years ago, I think as you probably read recently, I left Hollywood and I bought this historic, I call it a sacred estate, on the South New Jersey Cape, which is kind of where I grew up, in and around the Philadelphia area and the Jersey Shore, the South Jersey Shore. So I bought this historic sacred estate, and I named it after my mother, who had just passed a few years ago. And it's a nonprofit foundation, and we really try to, help the local community, but also help people online. We provide emergency shelter to people, clothing and food, and obviously spiritual, meditations and so forth. And since doing that, I have to say, it's the most, and I've been involved with lots of different projects which were very challenging. Like I said, Shah Rukh Khan, in fact, all the Indians except Malika, were amazing to work with. But, and then I've worked with a lot of Hollywood celebrities that, let's just say, are very, very challenging to work with. So I thought I had done a bunch of projects that were really hard to accomplish.
Right.
But this, starting St. Babs and doing what we're doing, is the most challenging gig I've ever had, but also the most satisfying, gratifying. So we're grateful, I think, to be able to do this. But I have been kind of dipping my feet back into the waters of the entertainment industry. There's a movie right now playing the festival circuit, a documentary that I executive produced. It's called The Last Sermon. It's about the refugee crisis and terrorism. It's a very kind of hard-hitting, issue-oriented documentary, but I think it's very important for people to see it, especially now. And so that's just making the festival rounds. It's just been winning awards, and it just signed a deal for sales. So you'll hear about that coming up, The Last Sermon. And there's a few other projects, but I can't really, I took a few years to launch this and do this. And now that it's really going well, which has been very, it hasn't been easy, let's just say that. But we've done so well where I've gotten to the point where I think I can work on some other projects again. So there's a few more coming up.
Awesome. And we are so proud of you for working for a non-profit organization and do something for the community. That's amazing. And it's very hard to find very popular people like you who always think about community. So we really appreciate your support for the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Inshallah, God willing, but at the same time, there's always room for improvement. Right. And, a long time ago, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like old and ugly now. When I was a young man and I was an actor, I started out as an actor, and I starred in a bunch of independent movies that became cult classic movies.
You're known as cult classic movie star.
But back then, when I was like 17, 18, and through my early 20s, I thought it was about getting famous. I thought it was about, everyone thinking I was so brilliantly talented around the world, And don't get me wrong, I definitely received my fair share of accolades. But I realized many years ago that what is it all worth if you can't do something with any kind of fame, influence, power, money that you have to help others, even just help one other person, or even just help a little kitty cat. We also have a cat rescue here.
How many kitty cats you have? And I'm sorry, I don't wanted to interrupt you, but let it come from our viewers. You look so good and young, and I would encourage our viewers to drop in the comment section. What
How
do
did
you
I look? Okay,
look like?
that's fine. But again, it's so
You're
hot.
a very humble, down to earth, and gracious person.
Thank you, likewise. And to all your viewers, thanks for watching. And please feel free to get in touch and stay in touch. And let's all help one another, help each other.
Yes, that
in
was
whatever
my last
way.
question, Ki. That if you have any message for our viewers.
Yeah, and in fact, uh, America right now, and don't lose faith in Americans right now. When I first started working in India, it was right before Obama became president. So George W. Bush, the Iraq War, and I was working in India, and because I was American, Ferengi, people, because of how bad America was perceived, thought to be at the time, people looked at me like, "Oh, American, no, we don't know if we can trust him," But I was in a hotel room in Mumbai the night Obama won the election. And the very next morning, I walked out of the hotel, and it was night and day. Indian people were walking up to me across the street, hugging me. Obama, Obama. So I experienced both ends. And right now, America, I think around the world, people might think that it's time to lose faith in America, the American system. Americans are still in the majority, on the whole, good people, but we have to give them a voice again. So don't lose faith in us. Although 2,000 years ago, India was the shiznit, you know what I'm saying? So everything was swinging back east and has been for like 50, 100 years. So the rise of India, and especially the balance of what Yogananda said, if only America could utilize some of India's spirituality, and if only India could utilize some of America's, how-to industrial spirit, which you guys are doing. So it's an amazing time to be alive. And over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, go India.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your wonderful message, and let's spread the positivity and kindness. And thank you so much for taking your time out from your busy schedule and coming on our show. And we look forward to have more of these with you. Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you.
God bless.